Twist of Fate Wednesday the 9th of March 2022 full update. Make sure you subscribe and click on the notification bell to get notified for more updates. Without wasting your time, let's start our today update. Rhea calls the delivery guy and asks when he will come. The delivery guy says he is riding the bike and will be there in 5 minutes. Rhea thinks to transfer the food in the house utensils. She thinks to count the guests and then counts them. The guests talk about eating in someone's house. Pallavi says we will have food. Pragya serves the food in the bowl and thinks she will be forgiven soon. Teji comes to the kitchen and tells that everyone is waiting outside. She says I thought to tell them that I will eat Rhea's chole first. She asks what shall I take out. Rhea makes the onion plate falls down and asks her to go to Pragya and see what is she doing. She says I will do the final touch of the chole. Teji asks her to hurry up. Rhea thinks where is this delivery guy? She calls him and asks him to come to the back door. She takes the parcel from him and asks him to go. Pragya makes the food. Teji comes there and tells that Rhea is ready with the food and asks her why is she frying the chilies. Pragya says chole bhatura doesn't look nice without chilies. Teji asks her to hurry up. Rhea comes to the kitchen and tastes the chole bhatura. She says wow, thinks Pragya can't beat such a taste, everyone will wonder tasting it. Pragya serves the chole bhatura. Rhea transfers it in the container and finds it hot. She drops the container bowl on the floor and gets worried, thinking what to do, what guests will eat now. Imagination scene. Pragya serves the chole bhatura to everyone. Dida asks them to start. Rhea comes out. Dida asks where is your chole bhatura? Pallavi asks what happened, if it was not ready. Teji says it is ready, shall I bring it? Rajeshwari ji says bring it, else our stomach will get full with this one. Pragya asks Rhea, why she is in tension, if anything went wrong. Rhea says I will come in sometime and thinks to order it again. She thinks until when they will have Pragya's chole bhatura, my order will come and my 1 spoon is enough to impress them. Pallavi asks why your chole bhatura is not made yet and asks where is it. Rhea is silent. Pallavi says I was having so hopes with you, but you didn't make it and asks what was she doing in kitchen. Pragya says she knows, but let it be and tells that her chole bhatura is enough. Dida asks what happened. Pragya says Rhea couldn't make the food. Dida asks what are you doing then? Teji says she has seen the casserole. Pragya says Rhea haven't made it and thought everything will be on time. Pallavi asks what are you doing in the kitchen then? Pragya says Rhea had called beautician for manicure and pedicure, so she couldn't get time to make chole bhatura. Pallavi asks have you gone crazy, and says it is absolutely mad. Rhea asks Pragya to stop it. Pragya says it was my mistake, I should have asked her to get it done fast, but. Rhea shouts asking her to stop and says you want to show that you are responsible and I am careless. Pragya says I am your sister. Rhea says I am your Jethani. She says sorry to Dida and Pallavi and says she had ordered chole bhatura from Delhi's reputed restaurant. She says the food fell down while I was transferring food in the container. Rajeshwari asks Pallavi what are they hearing, and says if you had to order food then we would have eaten food at our home. Pallavi apologizes. Rajeshwari ji says it is very insulting. Pragya asks her to forgive Rhea and asks her to think that Rhea has made the food. Rajeshwari ji says you are a good bahu, and made nice food, and that's why I am forgiving Rhea. Pragya thanks her and asks Pallavi to forgive her. Pallavi asks Rhea how dare she to order food without her consent and says they are silent being her respect and calls her worst bahu. She tells Pragya that she will handle the house and handovers the keys to her, saying you deserve this. Pragya says you love me and showed trust in me, but these keys shall be given to Rhea, as she truly deserves this. Rhea asks her to stop it and says you get immense happiness when I get scolded in front of everyone. She says you call yourself as my sister and did all this to act as best bahu. Dida says why you think of her doings as bad and says she is not bad, but you are bad and don't deserve to be a bahu. Rhea says you have problem with me since the start and you likes her. She says you wanted Pragya to get the keys. Pallavi asks Rhea to shut up and asks how is she talking to Dida. Rhea says I am talking to Dida and not you. Pallavi slaps her. It turns out to be her imagination. She thinks what to do. Prachi will tell everyone that I have not made the food. Siddharth calls her and asks if she can send the folder pic. She shouts and says she is busy in kitchen. He says sorry. Rhea asks him to ask Prachi and says she will give it to you. Siddharth says Prachi will send me as she is super fast in work, and thanks Rhea for saving his time. Rhea picks all the chol bhatura from the floor and wipes the floor. She then takes the fallen chol bhatura casserole out of the kitchen. Siddharth calls Prachi and asks her to send the file papers pic. Prachi says she is busy in kitchen. Sid requests her. Prachi says okay. Rhea comes there holding the casserole of the fallen chol and replaces it with Prachi's chol. She finds some particles in the casserole lid and thinks what can happen with me, it can happen with Prachi too. She makes the chol falls down and goes away. Prachi takes the pics of the file and sends it to Sid. Sid tells that he can't do work without her. She says she has to handle the big office. Prachi asks Sonny if she can help her. Sonny says yes. They come to the kitchen and find the casserole and the chol down on the floor. Pragya worries for Ahbi. The bar guy asks Ahbi to go. Ahbi gets up to go. He gets Pragya's call and she asks if he is drunk. Ahbi says now I understood what you have done, and you hate me and never loved me. He says now I understood that you hate me. Pragya asks what are you saying? He drops his phone and then picks it. Pragya tells him that Tanu wants to sell him, but I don't want to buy you. Ahbi looks on. Pragya telling Ahbi that Tanu wants to sell you, but I don't want to buy you. He says Tanu wants to sell me and you don't want to buy. Pragya tries to clarify, but the call gets disconnected. She throws her phone. Ahbi takes a drink and collides with someone. He asks a drunk guy not to let him get hurt as he is getting sold and nobody buys defective item. Rhea serves the stolen chol to the guests. The guest tells that the chol seems to be tasty. Pallavi asks them to tell whose chol bhatura are good, of Rhea or Prachi. Rajeshwari tells that she has never eaten so much tasty chol bhatura. Shada ji says it is good than that famous restaurant. Rhea says Cholia and says she used to go with friends, during college days. Rajeshwari ji tells Pallavi that yesterday she showed understanding and now serving us food. She praises Rhea. Other guest asks Rhea to teach her qualities to her bahu. Teji says we will not send our diamond to anyone. Pallavi asks where is Prachi? Teji says I asked her to come, shall I inquire? Rajeshwari asks for another bhatura. Dida asks them to wait as Prachi is also making. Prachi comes there and says she has brought sweets. Rhea says I will help you and asks why she is stressed. She says you have made sweets along with main course, that is commendable. She serves them. Rajeshwari says we will have it after chol bhatura. Rhea asks them to taste it, but don't forget my chol taste. Prachi serves the bhatura. Pallavi asks where is your chol? Prachi says she had gone out of kitchen for 2 minutes and when she returned, it was fallen on the ground. Pallavi asks how did it fall? Rajeshwari ji says it is okay. All of them praise Rhea for the chol, which she had stolen from Prachi's kitchen, and leaves. Rhea tells Prachi that it's okay, what is your mistake if your chol had fallen down? She says today's lunch would be incomplete without your sweets. Dida and Pallavi greet the guests as they leave. Pallavi shouts Prachi. Rhea asks Sonny to clear the table fast and comes to Pallavi. Pallavi scolds Prachi and asks why she didn't make chol for the lunch. She asks how did the chol fell down. She says I thought to give you a chance, but you have done mistake again. She asks how can you be so clumsy. Prachi says I didn't make the chol fall. Pallavi asks who made it fall. Rhea, Teji or me. Prachi says maybe cat came. Dida asks Pallavi not to get angry. Pallavi asks what to do, shall I not see her mistakes? Teji tells that Pallavi was right and tells that if she gives her chance then she will do mistake again. Pallavi asks if chol was of bad taste that you made it fall and making an excuse. Dida asks why are you thinking like this, and tells that they had food here. Pallavi says they might be thinking when I can't handle my bahu, then how can I handle the foundation? Dida says you are dragging the issue. Pallavi says when Rhea can make food, then why can't Prachi? She says Rhea made a good tasty food, and impressed everyone. She says when one sister can do then why can't other? She says how can it be possible that Rhea can do good things always and Prachi does mistake? Rhea says I accept that Prachi has done blunder and asks her to forgive her. She says I will make sure that she does good thing. Pallavi asks why did she go out of call? Rhea says maybe someone's call came. Pallavi says surely it might be Ranbir's call. Teji says though she talks more with Ranbir, but feels it is less. Pallavi says she is alone with him since 2 years and says nobody shall take her side. She says Prachi has disappointed me again and says it is my mistake. Rhea says she is already feeling guilty and asks her not to scold Prachi. Pallavi says Rhea is the perfect wife to have saved her husband, she is the perfect bahu who saved her family's respect and she is the perfect sister who thinks of her sister good and she is a perfect Jurani, thought about your betterment always. She asks Rhea to make Prachi like her. She asks Dida to give same place to both Baras in her heart. She says Rhea deserves your love and blessings. Prachi says sorry to Dida. Ranbir comes to Prachi and hugs her. He says mummy scolded you today and says don't know why she does like this. Prachi says it was my mistake. She tells that she tries not to make mistake, but it happens at the end. She says when mummy was scolding me, but Rhea supported me and told that she will take care of me and will make sure that I will not do any mistake. She says I felt good as she actually cares for me. Ranbir says I didn't know you will be happy with her care. She says I feel that my life has completed. She says things changed after Sid and Rhea's marriage. It was my dream to love her, pamper her, fight with her and other things. She says whatever Rhea did with me, I felt really happy. Ranbir says you like mummy and Rhea, do you like me? Prachi gets a call from her old landlord auntie. She picks the call and notes down something. Ranbir asks what happened, whose address is this? Prachi gets emotional and says Ma. Vikram asks Pallavi how was her foundation lunch. Pallavi tells that Prachi had tried to ruin her image, but thanks to Rhea, she saved their image. She tells that she thought to give her fair chance, but she is still the same. Vikram says she is our bahu and that's why she is here. Pallavi says she is just Ranbir's wife and says yesterday she ruined Rajeshwari's sari, but Rhea sets it right and today also Rhea managed the situation. Vikram says you says so much to Prachi and scold her much, what if Ranbir defends her? Pallavi says I have worked so much to set this reputation and says Prachi tried to ruin it. Vikram asks why will she do this? Pallavi says Ahbi has ruined our reputation in the society and his daughter will do the same. Vikram says Ahbi had never done, I am sure. Pallavi says I heard. Vikram says a person is not bad, but his time. Ahbi is drinking on the road and thinks of Pragya's words. Just then he gets hit by the car and falls down. It was Ranbir's call. Prachi sees him and says Papa. Ranbir calls him Chief and gets down. He asks what are you doing here Chief? Prachi holds his hand. Ahbi says I came on the road, I don't understand that the guy who came on road, how can he get sold? He says my wife has sold me to my ex-wife. Prachi washes his injury and gets shocked hearing this. Ranbir also gets shocked. Thanks for watching till the end, make sure you subscribe, and click on the notification bell to get notified for more updates, like, comment and share.
To change your